Hello folks, I'm Alex, this is Alex Unabridged, and today I just thought I'd have a bit of a ramble of my thoughts as a relatively new writer. So yes, welcome or welcome back if that is the case. Yes, today it's just a ramble from me. It's a bit of a blather. I had plans for another video that's taking me a little longer to put together than I thought it might. So that will come later in the week. So instead, I just thought I would do a bit of a ramble because I'd quite like to get a few thoughts out. So yes, I've been writing for 6 months, maybe something like that, in terms of fiction stuff. I've been, kind of trying to write some non-fiction stuff as well, connected with my artwork. But mainly today, I'm going to talk about this applies mostly to the fiction stuff. So yeah, I'll start off. My process so far. I'm still kind of trying to find my groove with stuff, but I'm getting there. I'm finding that I am, I'm writing in my head a lot, and I tend to do that in bed at night when I kind of lie awake waiting to go to sleep. Usually that's the time that I catastrophize or, kind of ruminate on things. So instead of doing that, I thought I might as well be productive with that time. And so I write now. I write in my head, and that's really good. Or if I'm out for a walk with the dog and things like that, and I'm just kind of ambling, I will find myself writing in my head. And then once the story feels kind of ready to come out, then I'll take notes and stuff like that into Millernote is the app that I use, which is really good for creatives. Being able to organise things, if I need to do some research, things like that, I'll start to pull stuff together in Millernote. And then when I'm actually ready to start writing properly, then I take stuff into Scrivener. And I've been using Scrivener. I love Scrivener. I'd started in Word and it just wasn't working. Don't know, maybe it's because I associate Word with kind of, sort of office documents, kind of reports and, essays as well when I was at university. And yeah, I just wasn't able to really kind of get into things in Word. So I thought I'll try a trial of Scrivener. And I loved that. The fact I can I can organise things really well. I can bring in, kind of research elements for the stories and all that kind of stuff. It feels like the right tool for the job. So that is what I'm using. In terms of what I'm writing at the moment, I'll keep this brief because I have talked about this a little bit in my wrap up for January. But yeah, non-fiction, I'm kind of pretty much finished the writing process, the draft writing process for a hike that I did. It's sort of documenting a hike that I did in Wales. And I'm now moving on to the accompanying artwork and also then editing the actual writing part of it. Most of the stuff that's in progress, like properly, like first draft, or in kind of the planning stages, is fiction. So I've got several horror short stories that I'm working on. Some further on than others, mostly based around sort of folk horror and landscape and things like that, but also some kind of antiquarian horror, like M.R. James type stuff. I'm also working on a novel, which is another one that is kind of folklore-y sort of based, set in Wales. That is kind of, it's elements of horror, elements of thriller, mystery, that kind of stuff in it. Also writing, or started writing some of the sort of flash fiction pieces that will hopefully come together to create a kind of coherent through narrative that will be a memoir essentially, or kind of like a autofiction. So they will be heavily inspired by events from my life, memories, snapshot kind of memories of my my life, but I will embellish and I will change things and I will kind of fictionalize things so that I can get some stuff across, because it's it needs that for me. It's like the memories, you know, aren't kind of aren't enough on their own, or I remember the kind of the way that I felt at a time and things like that, but it's kind of, I want to be able to kind of go a little bit off on a sort of, you know, surrealist tangent, or, you know, kind of bring a bit of magic into it, things like that. So it's like I need to develop those memories into something else that still talk about the themes and stuff like that that I want to convey. So that's the other project. So yes, the things I'm enjoying about it, finding that the flow of writing comes really naturally, actually, to me. It's you know, I can quite happily just, you know, when my wife goes to bed, she always goes to bed a lot earlier than I do. She's usually in bed by sort of 11. Once she's taken the dog out, if it's her turn, she'll probably want to go to bed. Whereas I am very much a night owl. My best hours for working are between like 10 in the evening and sort of 4 in the morning. So yeah, so when the missus has gone to bed, I fire up the laptop on the sofa downstairs and I just get writing, basically. And I can, you know, just write for hours and look up at the clock and go, oh God, it's 3:30. I really better go to bed now. So I'm burning the candle a little bit at both ends at the moment, which I probably should stop doing, but I'm enjoying it too much. I find that it's quite a quick process in comparison to like my artwork, which takes me a hell of a long time. I love doing it, but it does take me a long time to kind of get into the headspace. Maybe it's because I have to set more things up to do it. Like if I am doing print work or painting or whatever, I have a whole like set up period before and a clean up period afterwards. And then I have a period where I have to actually get into it and actually get focused on it. And it kind of, you know, I need a good big stretch of time to do it. So it's harder to get into. Whereas with the writing, I can literally just pick up the laptop and start writing. And then when I'm done, I just, you know, save it and shut it, and then that's it. So yeah, it's definitely more kind of accessible to me in that respect. And also because I get more done, because I can just get into it quickly, it feels really rewarding. So even though, you know, it might be crap what I've written, I've still written something, and that feels really good. Whereas when I do that with the artwork and I do something and then I go, oh, that's crap, then it's almost like I'm tempted then just to bin it. Whereas with this, I'm not, because I kind of go back and edit it, and you can edit it a lot easier than artwork. You know, the artwork takes, you know, a lot of saving. It's, you know, it's a process in itself to kind of turn it around if it's gone a bit awry. So yeah, so it's a much easier in that respect to kind of deal with the crap bits. On to the difficulties I'm facing. I'm still trying to find the balance between plotting things quite strictly and just being free with it. You know, plotting versus pantsing, I think is the term. And I definitely think I sit somewhere in the middle of that. I don't think I'm either one or the other at the extreme. And I think finding my own balance within that is tricky. I tend to overthink things like structure, like what structure should I be using? You know, should I be using Save the Cat, or you know, 3-act story structures, all that kind of stuff when it comes to the novel, and you know, kind of rather than just writing it as I see it and seeing how it turns out. I tend to do this. I tend to kind of think, oh, I haven't got the knowledge, so I better kind of look into that and learn all of that first. And then it just becomes like too much information in my head, whereas actually I just need to write the damn story. One of my things is like, and this is common to me from, you know, other creative endeavours, is why do things never sound as good or look as good on the page as they do in your head? it's essentially the same thing when you've written it down, you know, especially when you write a lot of stuff in your head. And then when you put it all together, why does it never kind of feel as good? I don't know why that is. Is it confidence? I don't know. So that is something I'm like having to try and just get myself past and just say, just get it down and, you know, don't try and edit it as I go along. That's the other thing that I'm kind of trying to like steal myself back from, is just like write a dirty draft and get it done and then go back and edit it, and stop trying to like tweak and edit every line that I go along with, because I'll never get anything done. So yeah, trying to like stop myself from doing that. You know, I'm still trying to find sort of my style and kind of, you know, where I sit, whether it's kind of more straightforward, you know, kind of prose, or whether it's kind of more towards the sort of poetic purple prose, and, you know, not trying to overdo it in terms of trying to make something sound poetic, you know, or sound in a particular way, a particular style, and just write. So that's something that I'm sort of still trying to find where I fit on that. I'm finding that I thought this would be the opposite way around. I thought I'd find kind of the more sort of descriptive prose easier to write than dialogue, because I don't speak to many people really. I speak to you guys lots, as you know, but in terms of, you know, just general conversations with people, I don't have a huge amount, which is the way I like it. I'm an introvert, and I do find spoken conversation, and especially small talk, stuff like that, very difficult. You know, I can do it. You know, I can put a good face on it, a good mask on it. But it's you know, I find it difficult, and so therefore I don't seek out a lot of kind of social interaction. So yeah, but actually the dialogue I'm finding, you know, comes, you know, relatively okay for me, whereas the descriptive stuff, that's the stuff I'm kind of struggling on. So that's something I'm going to have to work on. I want to be able to evoke kind of atmosphere and mood and that kind of stuff, and at the moment it's like I'm getting there, but it's still falling a bit flat. So yeah, I need to kind of work on that, I think. The other thing is, like, you know, when to show things to people. You know, I've you know, some stuff I've got is further on than others, and, you know, I'm kind of like, you know, at what point do I stop and say, no, you need to actually get some feedback on this before continuing on with the editing? You know, I think, you know, is it just going to be a case of just kind of knowing that it's the right time, or is it something I'm going to have to force myself to do because of, you know, confidence and worrying that you know, somebody's going to read it and go, yeah, it's crap. So yeah, that's something that definitely, you know, I'm gonna have to just, you know, suck it up at some stage and just go, just let somebody read it, somebody I trust, and just let somebody read it. And another big one, which for me is again another common one to everything I do, is not overfacing myself with more projects than I can actually have time to, you know, do. The things that I don't, you know, not too many things that I have the brain space for or the time for. I'm terrible for this. I'm full of ideas, but I'm terrible on follow through. Just because I get really enamoured with something for a while and then, you know, kind of lose confidence in it because I think, oh no, it's rubbish, and then it kind of goes off to one side and I start something new because, you know, new things are shiny and exciting, and I don't go back to the other thing because I like not lose interest, but I do lose confidence in it. And so I've, you know, like art-wise, I've got this whole folder of stuff that you know, kind of I've started that I do really need to go back to, but it kind of scares me, and I think the writing's kind of, it has the potential to be the same, just because it's me, and as I say, it's this whole kind of confidence thing. You know, I've got, the short stories aren't so bad because they are short, but like I've got sort of, you know, I'm working on one novel, but I've got like ideas for like two more, and I'm having to consciously stop myself from starting them when I, you know, run into difficulties on the one that I'm writing. You know, just because they're shiny and new and I like the idea, I need to focus on one and just get one done and work through the issues that I have with it. So those are kind of the difficulties that I'm kind of finding at the moment. But despite those, I'm still loving writing. You know, it's like, it's, as I say, it's new to me. So it's at the moment the difficulties are kind of like, well, of course I'm going to feel that because this is a new thing for me. But I don't want to I don't want those to go on and kind of become an issue when I kind of, you know, get past that sort of. I know I'm an amateur at the moment, and that's fine. It's when I start to feel like I want to kind of get to the next step and start to publish things that I don't want my like lack of confidence and fear to like stop me from doing it. But yeah, I still need to like, I need to figure out where I can kind of like go to find people who will, you know, read stuff like beta readers, etc., writing buddies, things like that. You know, where to find people who will read, you know, something when it's much further on. And also like the editing process. I don't really know what I'm doing with the editing process other than, you know, kind of, you know, going through it when I've written something and, you know, changing things, trying to improve things. So yeah, I need to find out a little bit more about, you know, good ideas for how to edit effectively. And the big one is just confidence. And I think that will only come when I actually finally get something out there and, you know, get some feedback on it. And even if feedback is like, it's a good idea, but it needs some work. I don't, you know, I can take constructive criticism, most definitely. I welcome it, but it's, but yeah, it has to be constructive. And yeah, I just need to kind of like, once I get stuff going, get stuff out there and get some feedback, then hopefully that will help the confidence. So that is my ramble on where I am up to with my writing journey so far. As I say, it's only been sort of 6 months or so that I've been doing it. But I have written a lot in that time. I've even since Christmas, in terms of the actual word count, you know, that I've kind of written of you know, actually getting stuff out onto the page rather than the plotting and planning sessions and stuff like that, which took up most of the time before Christmas. But as I say, I think it's because, you know, it's not my job. It's something I'm kind of like focusing on as a side thing, and something that I want to do. I want to do it because I just want to do it because the ideas are there, the stories are there, and they need to come out of my head. You know, that I've at least established somewhat of a consistent writing practice. And I think that, you know, potentially is one of the hardest things, is just, you know, even when you might not feel like writing, just doing it, just half an hour. You know, there's been evenings where I'm kind of like, I'm really in the mood for it tonight, I'm stuck on a bit, you know, and I've done it, and I've done half an hour, and actually, you know, I've very nearly solved a problem or whatever, or I've found a workaround or what have you. So, you know, or I've just enjoyed writing. You know, even if it's not the best stuff that's coming out. So yeah, kind of getting that kind of habit going. I think I've kind of nailed that a bit. But yeah, I need to work on confidence. I need to work on not overthinking things, which is the bane of my life. That is what I do. That is what I will always do. But it's about not letting that overpower anything, you know, anything else, not letting that overpower the creativity. So yes, please do comment down below if you have any advice for me, or if you're also a new or established writer and can identify with the stuff that I've talked about. I do want to meet, you know, more folks who write. I've already met some on BookTube, and it's been great. But yeah, you know, it's one of those where the more people I know and the more I know that my experience is, you know, kind of similar, then that's, again, that will help with the confidence. So yeah, please do comment down below with any of your thoughts. Thank you very much for watching me ramble. I will be back soon with more ramblings on all things bookish. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.